push the button. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you join us for our very first Access Academy, formerly At Home with APH webinars. If you are also here to collect ACV REP credit, your code word is Backstage, BACKSTAGE. Welcome, welcome. And I am going to launch our opening poll, which we do. Give us a shout, tell us what is your job title, where you are from in quadrant of the US, and then how you heard about this webinar. Again, welcome to the Access Academy. This is the very first one. It is using PowerPoint with JAWS. You know, that visual thing and that thing that helps you see those visual things. Welcome to Access Academy. We are so glad to have you join us. Feel free to drop in the chat if you cannot access the poll, who you are and where you're from. Would love to say hi. If you are also collecting ACV REP credit, your opening code word is Backstage. Backstage is your opening code word. Welcome, Missouri. Glad to have you with us. If you want to talk to others so that they can see, you need to change your to all panelists and attendees. This is a session which you will actually get to hear JAWS working, which means there are times when I will shut the chat. Otherwise, all you will hear is the chat instead of the directions JAWS is giving. Welcome, Florida. Hello, New York City and Wisconsin. Glad to have you with us. Again, you are here for Access Academy using PowerPoint with JAWS. If you are also listening for ACV REP credit, your opening code word is Backstage. Backstage is your opening code word. You will submit those on our training page and we will award you your ACV REP credit. There is a poll right now to let us know what your job title is and where you are from and how you heard about this webinar. I'll give it one more minute because I know those numbers are still growing. Hello, Arkansas, Colorado, Cincinnati, Ohio. Glad to have you with us. Good morning, California. Hello, North Carolina. Welcome, New York City and New Mexico. We are glad to have you join us today. Hello, Pennsylvania and Alabama. Ohio, see, we've got us from all over. We are glad to have you here. I'm going to end the poll and read those results. 38% are stating they're a teacher of students with visual impairments. 22% vision rehabilitation specialist, 20% other, love to know what that is in the chat. 14% orientation mobility specialists, 9 college faculty or state administration, 8% low vision specialists, and a few others. Welcome. Where you are from, our Eastern Coast winds, Northeast and Southeast, 26%, 28%, and a little bit of everything else. We have a few people from Canada, welcome, and we have a few people from other countries, if that's what your other was. Glad to have you. And then we are true, yes, our emails from APH seems to be our winner on how you hear about the webinars, but glad people are starting to go to that website to catch more. We have updated it. It is a new website, so hopefully you will find the upcoming classes that we have coming. Okay, I am closing the poll one more time verbally for the opening code word, which is Backstage. And I am going to turn it over to Paul. Paul, it's all yours.
Thanks, Leanne, and thanks first of all for the reminder that this is day one of our new Access Academy. The name is changed, but the concept is exactly the same. We're going to be teaching you all the things you need to know about all these different things. And today, I am especially excited about this one, using PowerPoint with JAWS. If I were not here hosting today, I would be in the audience. One thing's for sure, if you need this half as much as I do, then that means I need it twice as much as you. And going by my skill with PowerPoint, I do. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing. So we'll have our intros and our objectives. We'll present the using PowerPoint with JAWS presentation, and Liz is going to describe more of what's going to be involved in that. 1.5 ACV REP credits, of course. When it's open, make sure you put your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to those as much as we possibly can. Now, let's talk a little bit about our offerings from APH. JAWS and Zoom Text annual subscription licenses. You can get them through customer service. You cannot order them directly online, but you can contact us and get to the portal and get those. $90 annual subscription for JAWS, $80 for Zoom Text. We are very pleased to be able to offer that to you. And honestly, this is a really great time to partake of that, because in the next couple of weeks, JAWS 2021 is going to be coming out. So you can get that and you'll be able to see what that's like, test drive it, kick the tires, do all that stuff, and really find out more about what's going to be new in JAWS 2021. So let's get to our presenter, Elizabeth Whitaker, who's done several of these for us. Technical writer from Vispero. Very happy to have her doing this presentation for us today. Let's talk about our objectives. There are several. So we're going to identify at least 4 keyboard commands for navigating PowerPoint. We're going to review 7 steps for creating a slide. We'll then talk about 4 steps for deleting a slide. We're going to review at least 6 keyboard commands for reading a PowerPoint presentation. We'll identify 5 keyboard commands for using slideshow mode, which is what I'm using at the moment. My best friend with PowerPoint. So it is now time to turn this over to Elizabeth, and we will begin with her presentation now.
All right, thank you, Paul, and thanks a whole lot to APH for having me today. I really enjoy doing these webinars. Really excited to talk to all of you today about PowerPoint. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to cover here in just a second, but I wanted to start by just saying, you know, PowerPoint is one of those applications that is perhaps viewed as a very visual application, because, you know, when you go to a demonstration or, you know, someone presents, you have a PowerPoint presentation with those talking points, and there are a lot of pictures and graphics and other information. But as a JAWS user, you can get a whole lot out of reading PowerPoints, and you can also create accessible PowerPoints. So let's delve right into what we're going to cover today. I'm going to start by giving you an overview of, a little overview of PowerPoint and using it with JAWS. Going to talk about some JAWS features in Microsoft PowerPoint that make things easier to read and access. We're going to review the Backstage area, open and explore PowerPoint. We're going to create a new presentation, create a slide, insert a slide and delete slides, insert, resize, and locate content on a slide, and view a PowerPoint presentation in slideshow mode. And I'm also going to tell you about a feature called the accessibility checker in Office, and what that is and how you can use it and why it's important. And I'll be giving you some useful tips and keyboard commands along the way. So let's get started with a quick overview of PowerPoint with JAWS. Now, Microsoft PowerPoint is included in the Office suite of applications. And if you have a retail version of PowerPoint, this includes a license for one installation, so you can install it on one computer or device. It requires the use of a Microsoft account, which is free to set up on Microsoft's website. It requires an installation key for activation, which comes with your retail package. That information will be included in the retail package. You'll get a card usually with that code on it, and you can type it in when you install the application. Now, Office 365, which is widely used, you know, a lot of people use it at home. It's used in the workplace and in schools, colleges, everywhere. It allows for the installation of multiple devices. Now, that's going to vary, you know, from one college or workplace or school to another. But if you're actually subscribing to it personally, how many devices, the number that you can actually install it on will depend on the subscription that you choose. It also requires the use of a Microsoft account, which is the same type of account that you need for the retail version. and it provides the ability to update Office products as they are released. Now, I want to say one more thing about the retail version quickly that I forgot to mention. Once you use that installation key, then if you ever need to reinstall it, for example, on another machine, you will need that Microsoft account to log in, and you won't need that key again, but you'll need the Microsoft account. Same with 365. So if you need to log in and you need to install it on another computer or device, you'll definitely want to keep up with that username and password, because that is tied to your Microsoft. Either your Microsoft account is tied to whichever version of Office that you have. So it's very important that you keep up with that information. Now, with JAWS, you can verify whether you're using retail or Office 365 with the keyboard command Control-Insert-V, Victor, Control-Insert-V. And here in just a minute, I will actually show you what, I'll demonstrate that command for you. So I'm going to be demonstrating a lot of stuff for you today. But before we do that, let's move on to some JAWS features in Microsoft PowerPoint. Some of the newer JAWS features allow you to read, these are especially useful in presentation view. So when you press F5 to start a slideshow, Microsoft PowerPoint presentations can, of course, contain a wide range of content. And these can include, of course, text, graphics, pictures, links, tables, audio, video, just a number of things. While you're in this mode, you can read the slide contents and navigate all of the objects within those slides using your arrow keys and using quick navigation keys. Now in PowerPoint, objects are they refer to objects. You'll hear that term used a lot. So objects are just the different types of content that are in your slideshow or in your slides. So a link is an object, text is an object, picture is an object. So you'll navigate that information while in slideshow mode just like you would on a web page. So it uses the JAWS virtual PC cursor to when you're navigating. So you can use your arrow keys to read it, or you can access a list of objects, different types of links, for example, insert F7. And for those of you who may not be familiar with what the virtual PC cursor is, it's a JAWS cursor that allows you to navigate content, especially on websites and in other virtual applications where you don't actually have like an insertion point, a cursor like you do in Word that moves that you can see. So you have this cursor that allows you to read just as you would in a document. Now, when I mentioned JAWS quick navigation keys, these are commands that allow you to move around to different elements on a page or on a slide, in this case quickly. For example, T for tables, H for headings, G for graphics, and things of that nature. So if you want more information about those quick navigation keys, you can go to our training page at freedomscientific.com/training and access the Surf's Up material, which are lessons that show you how to navigate the internet with JAWS. So you will get a lot of information there about how to use those navigation quick keys. Other things you can do while you're in a slide or in slideshow mode, you can press Insert F, Frank, to obtain font information about a slide. And you can also press Insert 5 on the number row to determine the color of text on a slide. You can press, now when you're out of slideshow mode, and you can also use those two commands, Insert F and Insert 5 on the number row while you're while you're editing your slides. So you can also press Tab or Shift Tab to move through different areas of your slides. And while you're in slideshow mode, you can use a Tab and Shift Tab to move through links and different objects. You can press the space bar to activate them and go directly to that website. So there's just a number of things you can do. One more thing I do want to mention too, if you have a table on a slide, Because, for example, if you had a table of keyboard commands, you can navigate in that table using JAWS table reading keystrokes. So you can press Alt, hold down Alt and Control and press your up or down arrow keys to navigate by row, and right and left to navigate by column. Or if you just want to use your arrow keys, you can use a feature called the table layer mode. Now the table layer mode is a feature that we have that allows you, we have a set of layered commands that do different things. So if you press Insert Space and then you press T, that activates the table layer, and then you can use your up and down arrow keys or right and left arrow keys by themselves to move. And this only works if you're in a table, but if you want to get out of table layer mode, you just press Escape, or if you read down to the end of the table, then it will exit that mode, and JAWS will let you know. So that's just a little bit of information to give you before we get into the demonstrations today, and I'm going to be using these commands and show you how they work. So now let's talk about reviewing the Backstage. I'm going to talk about this for a second, and then I'm going to share my screen and demonstrate how it works.
Before you demonstrate, I have a few questions, just when you're ready. Do
Great.
Backstage first.
Okay, we'll do that first, and then before I share my screen, we'll take those questions. So when you first open Microsoft PowerPoint, you have a start screen containing the Backstage view. And the Backstage view includes templates, it includes themes, a list of recent files. You can access the File tab, the File menu, the Home tab, open a file, create a new file account. So you have a lot of different options there. And you can navigate through that Backstage view, which I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, or you can just press Escape to enter or to go ahead and bring up a new PowerPoint presentation. And it's the same in Word and Excel and those applications as well. So before we move on, let's go ahead and take those questions, and then I'll share my screen and I'll show you how to navigate the Backstage view.
Okay, so our first question, well, we'll do that one. What does Insert F do again? We'll start with that one. That was quick.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Insert F reads the font information about the text on a slide. You can use that command in Word and Excel. Once again, you can use it in other applications as well. And on the web, it'll read you the font information, the size. I'll show you that here in just a second.
Okay. Are JAWS commands in PowerPoint transferable for using with Google Slides?
That is a good question. Some of them probably are, but I'm not exactly sure which ones are. But we will be doing a webinar in December on Google Slides. So if you want a comprehensive list, definitely
stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned.
Okay. Will you also, or does this also work if you're using Office 2019?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the command to tell you the font and font attributes in PowerPoint, such as if you folded text? I'm not sure what that means.
Oh yeah, okay. So Insert F will tell you a wide range of details. It will tell you if it's bolded, underlined, what the font, like which font you use, the font size.
Okay. And can a teacher of students with visual impairments order a subscription to JAWS to learn more about it themselves?
I would contact Freedom Scientific to see what your options are there.
Okay, I'll let you move on.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to open PowerPoint. Let's delve into the demonstration part.
So while she's working on sharing her screen, what I will be doing is I'll be turning off the chat so that we don't hear a ton of JAWS.
All right, can you guys see my screen here?
See it just fine.
Okay, so I'm going to open PowerPoint. I'm going to locate it using Windows Search. I'm going to press the Windows key.
Search box edit.
And start.
Type in text.
I'm going to start typing PowerPoint.
P-O-W-R. PowerPoint. App. Press right to switch preview.
And enter.
PowerPoint. Enter. Opening dash. Opening dash PowerPoint. List box PowerPoint. Backstage view. Blank presentation. 1 of 6.
Okay.
To move to an item, press the arrow keys. Alt follow.
Sorry, I have the tutor messages turned on, so when JAWS starts announcing when it tells you to move using your arrow keys or how to navigate, those are called tutor messages. And sometimes they may be helpful to students who are just learning, because it tells you how to navigate. So here we are we have the Backstage view, and we're here in a box. I can use my arrow keys to navigate. We're on blank slide.
Welcome to PowerPoint. Blank presentation.
Yeah, blank presentation.
Welcome to PowerPoint.
I'm pressing down arrow.
Bring your presentations to life with 3D. Geometric color block. Urban monochrome.
So you can just go through all the different choices here, and I'll go back up to blank presentation because that's what we're going to create.
Bring your welcome to blank presentation.
Okay, I'll tab.
More themes link. Alt followed by F.
And there's a more themes link. Now let me make it repeat that because I hit Control to stop it. It was saying something important. So
more themes link. Alt followed by F, H, Y, B.
Okay, so when you hear that, it says Alt followed by F, H, Y, B. It's giving you the keyboard command if you wanted to go straight to more themes. Let's say if you were in a presentation and you wanted to go there, that's the command you would use. Now, some of those are, it's hard to remember all of them, of course, because there's so many letters usually that are, that are used, but you'll remember the ones as a general rule. You'll remember the ones you use most often. And if you don't remember them, you can usually find the command. So I'm going to keep tabbing through here and show you what we have.
Search edit. Type in text. Recent tab. To switch pages, press Control plus tab. Test slides.pptx.
Okay, here's a list of recent files. I use this a lot personally, whether I'm in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. If I have just used a particular file, I know it should appear in this recents list. And I can just down arrow.
Using PowerPoint with JAWS APH presentation underline final underline.
And that's the one that we used that Paul is running right now for us here.
Transition slides.pptx.
So we have a list, recent files. So if I wanted to go to one of these, I could just press enter and it would open that file.
More presentations link. Home. 1 of 6.
I'm just
tabbing.
tabbing.
To an item, press the arrow keys.
You heard it say home 1 of 6. I'm going to use my arrow keys here. That's
new.
Home tab. We could start a new presentation.
Open.
Open.
Account. Feedback. Options. Home.
So that's how we can navigate through those options. I'm going to tab again.
Collapsible group button checked expanded. To activate, press spacebar. Blank presentation. 1 of 6.
Okay, so that's the Backstage view, and I'm going to go ahead and press escape to just go ahead and bypass it and
escape. Spell check. MDI client. Multiple document interface client window. Ready. No selection. To select an object, press tab.
So we get a lot of information here, but we have a blank presentation, and we've just navigated the Backstage view, and just press escape when you want to just open a blank presentation, start a new presentation.
Meeting control.
So let's see if you guys have any questions about this, and we'll move on to the next slide, but let's see if you have any questions first.
All that.
Okay, I have opened up the chat again so that you are able to make your questions inside the chat. So I'll give you a minute to be able to do that. Does escape work in all Backstage views?
Yes. It should, yes. There is a way to turn it off. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. There is a way to turn it off. It's somewhere in the options, I think, or the settings somewhere, if you want to bypass it altogether. But it's one of those features that you either like or you don't like, but it's kind of good for those recent files. And, you can just hit escape to get rid of it. So, okay, I'm sorry.
What was the collapsible group? It didn't sound labeled correctly.
It wasn't. I'm going to navigate back there and get out of this presentation, go back into PowerPoint and see what that was. Let's see what that brings up. Okay, it said it's expanded, so I'm going to down arrow there. I hit space and it just says not checked. So actually, I'm not sure what that is. Sorry about that. I'll have to explore that and see what that is.
A attendee said Alt F Foxtrot and then T Tango gets you to options.
Yes. Yes, or you can do Alt F and up arrow as well. But yeah, thank you for that keyboard command. It's always good to have keyboard commands. We can never have too many.
At the moment, I think we're good.
Okay.
So it says
All right.
open and explore PowerPoint.
Okay, so we're going to talk, I'm going to talk about this for a second and then I'll share the screen again. But opening and exploring PowerPoint, of course, we've opened it. When you open PowerPoint, you have a title slide, which is shown, and you have two objects on that slide where you can add a title and you can also add a subtitle. And of course, as we mentioned, it opens in the Backstage view and you can press Escape to exit this view, and you can move focus to the standard title slide and press Tab to move through these different placeholders. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to go over just a few. Let's see if I can get this to. Okay.
Webinar. Presentation 1-PowerPoint.
All right. Can you
To move
guys?
to an item, press the arrow
You can
keys.
see it, and
Ready.
I have
that?
muted
Okay.
the chat for now.
All right. So if I want to verify that I'm in the PowerPoint window, which I'm sure I am, but let me maximize this
Alt
just in
space.
case.
Menu X. Leaving menus.
So if you need to maximize something using JAWS, you can press Alt space and then the letter X. So that's a Windows command, but it works. And I can press Insert T.
Title is Presentation 1-PowerPoint.
And that's a JAWS command. So usually commands with the insert key, that's a JAWS command. Insert T reads the window title. Okay, so now that I know I'm in this blank presentation, I can tab.
Center title placeholder.
There's my title, and it's centered by default. So let's go ahead and just type a title for a new presentation. Let's see.
JAWS.
I'll type JAWS commands.
Space COMMANDS.
All right. Now, when I type that, if I were to tab,
Edit.
it would appear
Tab.
that nothing was happening, but what's actually happening is it's entering tab stops.
Tab
So I'm going to
blank.
backspace those out, and I know that when I use my left arrow key because it reads
Tab. S. Tab.
it reads tab. So I'm going to take
Blank.
those out.
Tab.
So that's a very important thing to remember. Once you start typing in any object area of a slide, when you're done, you want to hit escape to get out of that and go back to
Escape. Object level.
the
JAWS
object
commands.
level. So once you're in a placeholder like the title placeholder, if you type and you press enter, it'll enter a blank line. If you tab, it'll tab, just like in a document. So you press escape. Now you're back to the object level.
Subtitle
We can
placeholder.
tab again.
Center title placeholder. Level 1. JAWS commands.
And let's just, now let's say I want to change that. Okay, I want to change
Center
that
title.
to keyboard commands, for example.
Center title placeholder. Level 1. JAWS commands. Blank.
So if I hit
No selection.
escape,
To
let's see
select
what it does.
Subtitle. Center title placeholder.
Or I'm sorry, not escape, backspace. All right, so hit backspace, it just removed the entire title. So let's go ahead and type.
KEYBOARD space COMMANDS.
All right, I typed keyboard commands, hit
Escape.
escape.
Object level. Center title.
Now I can press enter on that
Enter. Edit.
and it goes into edit mode. So now I can actually just remove a specific word or letter.
KEYBOARD space C.
Or I could navigate using my right
Charlie.
arrow key, left arrow key, and so forth. So I'm gonna hit escape.
Escape. Object.
Now I'm gonna tab to subtitle,
Subtitle placeholder.
and I'm just gonna put my name
BLIZABBTHWAITAKER.
and escape.
Escape. Object level. Keyboard command slide. 1 of 1.
Okay, so
Subtitle placeholder.
it names your slide whatever the title is. So I can tab through this.
Center title placeholder. Level 1. Keyboard commands. Subtitle placeholder. Level 1. Elizabeth Whitaker.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about navigating PowerPoint, what you have here. You have several things along the top. You have the title bar and a status bar, and you have the ribbon and different task panes. So if you press F6, you can navigate through that information. You press F6 to move forward through those different areas, or Shift F6 to move backward. So I'm going to press F6.
F6. Recommended design: design idea. 1 of 9. To move to an item, press the arrow keys.
So I could down arrow here.
Design idea. Design idea. Design idea.
Well, maybe I could.
Design idea.
Okay. I tried tab. All right.
F6. Toolbar.
But it didn't
Spell
really tell me what that area was. But let's keep tabbing here. Or I'm sorry, pressing F6 here.
F6. Upper ribbon. Ribbon tabs. Tab expanded. Home tab. To switch pages, press Control plus tab.
There's the ribbon.
F6. Slide thumbnails tab. Leaving menus. Keyboard command slide.
And that's going to be really important here in a minute, this thumbnails tab. Now, I use it a lot, and it's important also to remember that everybody probably creates PowerPoint presentations differently. So it's important to know the different, features, but you're probably going to have a certain way you like to do it, certain ways that you like to insert and delete things and things like that. But
F6. Slide area. No selection.
There's a slide
to select
area.
An object. F6. Design idea. 2 of 9.
So, here we have this design area.
F6. Toolbar. Spell check no errors button. Press enter or spacebar to activate this button. To move through the buttons on this toolbar, use tab or shift tab. To move between the status bar toolbar, the ribbon bar in the document.
Okay, so here we have, JAWS is going to give us some information, which is good, as again, good for people who are newer to JAWS or newer to maybe PowerPoint and want some information to turn those tutor messages on in JAWS. So we can just tab here, that's a spell check button.
Accessibility checker, accessibility : investigate.
That's accessibility checker, which we'll talk about later.
Notes button.
Notes.
Press enter or spacebar to activate this
area if you wanted to add notes to your slides.
Normal tab. To switch.
That's the view, normal view.
Slide sorter tab.
Slide sorter.
Reading view tab. Slideshow tab. To zoom up button.
So we have a number of things here.
F6. Upper ribbon.
Of course, we know what the ribbon is, which I'll tell you how. Of course, you can also always press the Alt key from within a presentation to access the ribbon as well.
F6. Slide thumbnails tab. Leaving menus.
So slide thumbnails it's a quick way to move up and down through your slides. And we only have one here right now, and we'll use this later on, but it's a very quick way to move up and down through your slides.
F6. Slide area. No selection. To select an object.
So we're back to the slide area and the slide that we just created. So I'm just going to show you one more thing here. If you press the Alt key.
Upper ribbon. Ribbon tab.
Here we have the ribbon, and we can right and left arrow to the different tabs here.
Insert tab. Home
we
tab.
have home,
insert tab.
Insert,
design tab.
Design, and so forth. So you can just right and left arrow through those tabs, and then down arrow to go into a tab.
Transitions tab.
If I down arrow,
Transitions. Preview button unavailable.
I could tab to the different things that are here under the Transitions tab. Now I'm going to press Escape a few times to get completely out of the ribbon.
Escape. Escape.
Okay. So let's go ahead and see if you guys have any more questions
Meeting control
before we move on to the next thing.
Alt.
Okay, so I've turned the chat back on, so you're welcome to type your questions in the chat. I'll give them a minute. Okay, nothing so far. Give one more minute. Okay, what was the key command to move to the blank slide?
Blank slide. Upon opening PowerPoint, when it came up in, well, that was blank presentation. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question. I'm sorry. Can you clarify?
Yep, nope, she said yes, exactly.
Oh, okay,
that's exactly
okay.
The question.
So, okay, in the Backstage view, yeah, it usually defaults to that blank presentation, but if you wanted to, if it didn't, or if you wanted to you can up or down arrow through those choices if you want to choose a different one, or make sure that it was on blank.
Can you use the F2 key to rename a title similarly to Windows Explorer or Excel?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, yes you can. Yes you can. I'm sorry. JAWS didn't say anything when I did. Yeah, when you're on that, and I think this works, it does. So yes, you can press F2, and then you can either press F2 again, or you can press Escape.
Okay. What is the Transition tab?
Transition. That is, let's see. I'm gonna make sure I'm
Yes,
telling
some
you something
descriptions.
right.
It's very visual.
Yes.
Transition tab makes PowerPoints either look like the page is turning in a book. It
Yes.
could make something spin or fly in from the side, so letters or words could move across the screen. So it's often movement, extremely visual.
And it has a lot of effects too, right? Different effects you can apply.
Yes.
And timing.
Yes. Oh yes,
like
timing
that.
too. Yeah.
Timing
yeah.
things. Yeah, that's what I thought. And these things are fun to play with too sometimes in your presentations, especially with JAWS. If you don't know what they do, just, they're fun to try.
I'm going to read the question. I'm not quite sure
Okay.
how the accessibility option works in PowerPoint.
Oh, the accessibility checker maybe? If that's what the question is, if it's not, please let me know that I have misunderstood the question. But the accessibility checker, which we'll get to later, I'll demonstrate it for you, is a feature that is in like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint that allows you to make sure that you are, it checks for any accessibility errors or issues. Or it checks for most of them anyway, like no alt text on a picture. Alt text describes the picture. It's not text that you see, but it's text that's entered that lets a screen reader read it, and then someone who's using JAWS knows, hey, I know what this picture is. So it will catch things like no alt text on a picture or graphic.
Very nice. Can you use Alt for ribbons?
Yes. Yeah, you can use Alt for the ribbon, and you can use your right and left arrow keys to move to the different tabs on the ribbon, and down arrow to enter into the lower ribbon part of the ribbon where on a tab where you're in that particular tab.
The design ideas offer some nice options visually, which was visually presented off to the right on your screen.
Yes.
But it seems to make slides less accessible to this person. Is that your experience?
I personally haven't used that feature myself, but I can see where it would, yeah, depending on what designs are chosen and things of that nature, so yeah.
Okay. Mark did clarify his question about the F2. He was actually talking about renaming the file, not the slide title.
The file. Okay.
I missed that.
From where in yeah, if you press it when you're in PowerPoint, then it's going to want to let you edit the slide information.
So this person's saying, unlike previous versions of Office, in 2016, Control and Home or End do not move to the top or bottom of the presentation. Page up or down move between slides, but how do you quickly navigate to the first or last slide now?
That's a good question, because I've noticed that as well. I'll show you how I do it here in just a few minutes. It's not as quick as, Control, Home, or End would be, but yeah, I'll show you a quick way to navigate through those slides.
Does JAWS give you a description on what the slide suggestions are when you're in that presentation? What is that thing called? The one on the side.
Accessibility checker?
Yeah. No, I think on the, they give the pretty slide choices, the design ideas.
Oh, the design. There are probably parts of it that you will get some description, but a lot of the visual things sometimes, some of them are described, but some of them, you may have an idea of what the design will look like, or maybe not. It just depends. It really depends.
Okay. And this person says they frequently wind up with slides with duplicate titles that become confusing. Is there a fast way to edit a slide title that isn't necessarily visual?
Yes. So when you navigate to that particular slide, we'll do that here in just a minute. I'll show you. We'll navigate to a slide, and then I'll show you how to rename it. But when you're on the slide title, you can either press Enter or you can press F2 and then rename that title.
Okay, I'm going to let you go on. Kind of hold on to your questions on a scratch piece of paper. I'll let you know when the chat is shut again.
You guys are asking great questions. Thank you very much. This is good. So now we're going to talk a little bit about creating a slide, which we've already touched on. You know, when you open PowerPoint, you have the blank slide and you can enter the title and the subtitle. And then of course, when you insert different slides after that, you have a title and an object. And it's the same situation. You tab or you shift tab to move between the two placeholders, title and object. You can press enter on the title placeholder, or type the title, or you can just start typing, or you can, and then you always need to press escape once you've typed information, whether it's a title or an object. Press escape to move back to the object level, and then you can tab to the object placeholder, and you can press enter to start typing, or just start typing and it will enter your information. Now by default it will enter the bullets for you, and after you type, well, bullets are automatically inserted at the beginning of each line. So as you press enter, a new bullet is inserted on that next line. And then again, just press escape to exit and go back to the object level. And as somebody just said as well, you can press page up and page down to move through your different slides. And I'm going to show you another way to do it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Oops. Maybe.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Okay.
And I will turn off the chat.
Okay. You can see my screen in here, Jaws. We're good.
Title is.
Looks good.
Okay, great. All right. So, once again, here we are in this title slide. And so
Subtitle.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get to how to do this in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and insert another slide.
No selection.
Really quickly here so that we have something to work with. Okay, so I'm going to tab.
Title placeholder.
And I'll give this a title. I'll say. So we have a title slide of keyboard commands. So I'm going to give this one slideshow mode. Okay, so I'm going to escape.
Escape. Object level. Object placeholder. Title placeholder. Level 1. Slideshow mode.
Okay, so once again, if I wanted to edit that, I could press enter or I could press F2.
F2. Edit. L.
And I'm
Slide. Show. Mode.
here in edit mode.
Blank. E.
And
blank.
I can press space after the word mode and add the word commands.
Space. C-O-M-M-A-N-D-S.
And I can press F2 again.
F2. Object place. Title placeholder. Level 1. Slideshow mode commands.
Okay, so now we have a title and I can move to the object.
Object placeholder.
And I can start typing. I can say
F5 space T-S-T-A-R space L-D-E-S-A-W. Enter.
And I can press enter. And then if I up arrow,
Level 1 bullet F5 to start a slideshow.
see, it's already bulleted. Now if I down arrow,
Bullet.
we have a bullet. So I can write my next point.
S-P-A-C-E space T-O-A-D-V-A-C-E space U-K-T-E space L-D-E-S-A-W. Enter. Bullet space to advance through the slideshow. Bullet.
So there we have some bullet points, and
Bullet F bullet.
we have those 2 bullet points.
Blank.
So I just pressed backspace to get rid of this stray bullet here.
Bullets blank.
And I'll just press escape.
Escape. Object level.
And I'm back.
F5 to start a slideshow.
I'm back to object level.
Title placeholder. Level 1. Slideshow mode commands. Object placeholder. Level 1. Bullet F5 to start a slideshow. Align left. Bullet space to advance through the slideshow.
So yeah, so as you can see there, now we have a slide with some information. And then if you wanted to insert a shape or, graphic of some sort of picture or sound or video or things like that, you could do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and move to inserting slides. I'm going to give it back
Meeting
over to
control.
you, Paul, because I want to talk about a couple things first.
All data.
And then we'll insert a slide. I'll show you ways of doing that, and then we'll stop and ask some questions, or let you guys ask some questions.
Okay, will you get into saving a file yet?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I will definitely do that here near the end.
Okay, chat is back open if you
Okay.
have any questions so far.
Yeah, let's see what you guys have here. Yeah, I'll show you how to save.
I missed the new slide command. How did you
Oh,
get a new slide?
That is actually coming in the next slide. I just
Oh,
inserted
okay.
it. Yeah, I just did it because I needed another slide. But I'll show you 3 ways of doing that, actually.
Oh, Matthew says you're sneaky.
Yeah.
Okay, at the moment, no. So I think they're ready to get into
Okay.
this new slide business.
All right. Let's talk about new
Oh, wait
slides.
a minute.
Oh,
You got
okay.
one. There is
All
one
right.
more. They're warning it might be getting ahead of things. But
Okay.
they've noticed that even when they check the box to make an image decorative, JAWS still reads out all of the decorative images. Their understanding is this is a known bug. Do you know if this will be resolved soon?
I actually did not know that, so I will look into that.
Okay.
I will look into that. Thank you for letting me know.
Will you
Sorry, I
cover,
don't have an answer.
Yeah, that's okay. Will you cover inserting images from outside sources?
I'll mention it. I won't actually do it, but I will mention it. I'll show you how to insert something that's within PowerPoint, but I will talk about that. I'll show you where to go.
Okay. Are bullets automatically inserted?
Yes. When you enter, each time you enter, if that particular line already has a bullet, the line that you're on, when you enter, a bullet is inserted in the next line. Now, I will say that sometimes if there's not a bullet there, you know, it won't have those bullet points. And what I usually do when that happens is I'll get out of that particular slide area and get back in and just start typing it again, and it'll usually insert those bullets.
And then what was the key command if you wanted to show all the template slides?
Oh, in the Backstage view.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just down arrow when you open PowerPoint and it's in the Backstage view, you're automatically in that area, and you can just down arrow through the different PowerPoint templates.
Okay, I think we're ready. Hold on to those, write them on a piece of scratch paper and paste in a minute.
Great. Okay, let's talk about inserting a slide. There are several different types of slides that you can insert using the new slide button. Oh, and this may be what this previous question was about as well. So I'm about to show you what that is. You can press Alt-N to move to the Insert tab, and then you can choose, you have a split button, which I'll show you, and you can down arrow through those choices. You can also use a couple of different keyboard commands to just insert a blank slide, or like a default slide. And one of those is Control M, or you can just go to that new slide button and press enter. So I'm going to demonstrate every one of these. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here.
I'm going to turn chat off for a minute.
Webinar, presentation 1-power.
Okay, can you guys see that now? Right here.
Looks good.
Okay. All right, so we're going to start by using the new slide split button. Now let me explain something about a split button. A split button has 2 halves that do different things. So if you enter on a split button, it usually just activates whatever the command is. If you Alt down arrow on a split button, it will give you some options. So here we are in the presentation, and if I press Alt-N, I'm going to go to the Insert tab here.
Alt-N, upper ribbon, ribbon tabs tab expanded, Insert tab, to switch pages.
So now I've moved to the Insert tab, and I can press Tab.
Insert, slides, new slide split button,
to move
through the
to the new slide split button. So if I were to just enter here,
enter, leaving menus, slide 3 of 3.
Now we have slide 3, and it said 3 of 3, which lets me know that I'm on the 3rd of 3 slides. But let's do it again. Let's do Alt-N.
Alt-N, upper ribbon.
And Tab.
Insert, slides, new slide split button.
Now press Alt down arrow.
Alt down arrow, leaving menus, title slide button.
Okay, so now we have different types of slides. We can insert a title slide.
To content button.
Content.
Blank button.
Blank.
Menu, duplicate selected slides.
You can duplicate.
Slides from outline ... Reuse slides. Leaving menu.
So you have lots of options.
Duplicates. Leaving menu. Title only. Picture with caption button. Title. Section header button. Menu. Reuse slide. Slides from outline ... Duplicates. Leaving menus. Picture with caption.
Okay, I'm going to hit escape because I've gotten into this. I didn't mean to. So sometimes with the ribbon, you have to hit escape a few times to go back to basically like go back to 0 here. So I'm going to press Alt-N.
Alt-N. Upper ribbon.
And I'm going to tab to
Insert. Slides. New slides.
New slide split button, press Alt down arrow.
Alt down arrow. Leaving menus.
And I'm going to press down arrow
To content button. Blank button.
to blank and press enter.
Enter. Slide 4. 4 of 4.
But I could have inserted a title slide or whatever type of slide I wanted to there. So yeah, you just go to that insert menu with Alt in and tab to the new slide button. It's a split button, and you can either press enter to insert a blank slide, just a default blank slide, or press Alt down arrow to activate the other part of that split button so you can choose what you want to insert. Another way to insert a default blank slide is to press Alt followed by the letter N, November, S, Sierra, or I, and I, India. So Alt N S I. So I'm going to do that now.
Alt N. Upper ribbon. S. I. Leaving menus. Title slide button. To move to an item, press the arrow keys. To content button. Blank button.
Okay, so
Enter.
let me
Slide
make
5.
sure I think I
Upper ribbon. N.
just discovered
S.
something.
I. Leaving menus. Title slide button.
Nope, okay. I'm
Escape.
sorry. So
Upper ribbon.
that's
Ribbon.
another
Is
way to
escape.
bring it up. That brings you to the list of, sorry about that. That brings you to the list of slide types. So you can either press Alt and N together and then S by itself and I by itself, or you can press Alt by itself, then N by itself, S, and then I. And that's just a quick way to get to the area where you can choose what type of slide you want to insert. So sorry about that, I misspoke. Okay, so another way to insert a blank slide, just a default blank slide though, is to press Control M.
No selection. To select.
Oh wait.
Escape. Escape. No selection. To select.
It's doing it.
Okay. I think, is it? Because I'm
Yeah, it's doing it.
okay.
One dash.
Well, I'm in some kind of
No selection. No
where am I? All right. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm press F6 here.
F6. Learn more link. F6. Toolbar. Zoom. F6. Upper ribbon. F6. Slide thumbnails tab. F6. Slide area. No selection. To select. No select.
Okay, well, JAWS is
Escape.
glitching. Okay, well, let me show you something you can do here though. That is, and I was actually going to show you this. Let's go to the slide thumbnails. I like to do this a lot. Let's go to the slide thumbnails tab.
F6. Learn more link. F6. F6. Upper ribbon. F6. Slide thumbnails tab. Leave.
Okay, so now we have a list of slides we can up and down arrow through.
Slide 7. Slide 6.
Yeah, it sure did insert a lot of slides.
Slide 3. Slideshow mode. Keyboard command slide.
Okay,
Keyboard
so
command slide.
we're at the top and we can just go down arrow.
Slideshow mode command slide. Slide 3. Slide 4. Slide 5. Slide 6. Slide 7. Slide 8.
We have a lot of slides here. Okay, but I can press Control M
Slide 9. Slide 9.
and we have a new slide.
Slide
So I am not sure what happened there.
F6. Slide area. No selection. No selection.
Yeah, I keep saying no selection. Okay, well,
You
10.
kept putting blank slides in there,
Yeah.
so they are very blank.
yeah, there's nothing there. It usually just says slide 10 or whatever. Well, one thing you can do is you can press Insert B, which is actually a command for reading a dialog box or a dialog within an application. But if you press Insert B as in Bravo,
Slide 10.
it tells you what slide you're on. And I can hit page up.
Page up. No selection. To select an object, press tab. Slide 9. Page up. Slide 8.
So you can move that way. Anyway, okay, so sometimes JAWS will say certain things and sometimes it won't say those things. So, and that is based on what is on your screen or maybe a command that you've executed. So it's not actually a quirky thing. It's just so much as it is based on what you've just done. So there, JAWS wasn't saying what I expected it to say. But when that happens, I can just go to this. I'm going to press Shift F6 to move back.
Shift F6. Slide thumbnails tab.
To the slide thumbnails tab.
Slide 9.
Now I'm actually jumping ahead here and well, you know what? Yeah, I'll show you how to do this. So when you go through this tab,
Slide 9. Slide 8. Slide 7. Slide 6. Slide 5. Slide 3.
okay, so now we can F6 to the slide area. Let's go ahead and title this slide.
F6. Slide area. No selection. Title placeholder.
And I could say
I-N-F-E-R-T space L-I-D-K-E-Y-B-A-R-D space O-N-A-D-S.
I could title it Insert Slide Keyboard
Escape.
Commands.
Object placeholder. Title place.
So now if I go back to this Thumbnails tab with Shift F6,
Shift F6. Slide thumbnails.
or I could F6 all the way back over to it, but Shift F6, goes backwards through the different areas on the slide. So now we have
Insert slide keyboard command slide. Insert slide 4. Insert slide keyboard command slide.
So there we have it. We have the new title that I just typed. So I like to use this Thumbnails tab because it's just a really convenient way of navigating through your slides very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to take your questions before I show you how to delete a slide.
Task switching. Meeting control. All data.
The first one was slightly old. It's how you set a new PowerPoint template. You make that selection.
Yeah, while you're in the Backstage view, and you can just, when you open PowerPoint, you have the Backstage view there, and you're already in that templates box, so you can just down arrow to the one you want, and it usually defaults to blank.
Okay, and I've opened the chat up, so you are welcome to put your questions in the chat.
Yeah.
There was another person helping out earlier that said if you do not want to use the regular ribbons, you can turn on JAWS virtual ribbon feature.
Yes, you can. And you can do that by pressing Insert V to bring you to virtual settings, and then type the word in the search box, type virtual. And if you down arrow, then it'll say virtual ribbons not checked, and you press the space bar and they'll be checked. And then you just press escape to get out of that, or tabbed OK. And what that does is it kind of groups things together into a kind of like a menu, submenus. And so some people really, really like those because they're able to navigate using your up and down arrow keys, and they act more like menus than the ribbon, than tabbing through the ribbon.
Can you explain the different types of slides, i.e. caption and content slide?
Well, we have the title slide, of course, is usually for titles, and then the content slide. Let's see how to explain. You have your blank slide, which you can enter any kind of information, that you want, like with pictures and images and things like that. Yes.
I can go through them real fast. The title and content usually has a visually bar at the top with a title, and then a large box for quite a bit of word content.
Is that like
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Is that like to show you the sections on in your PowerPoint in your presentation? Or?
It could be. You could put a graph there, a chart there, a very, very large picture there. You will see a variety of pieces in that spot, but it is what is used frequently in presentations.
Okay, that makes
sense. It almost becomes the default for a lot of people.
Okay, I've seen those. I just wasn't sure exactly what all information people put on those.
That's it, yeah. Section header is often for your breaks between sections. It's very similar to a title slide. A to content is a box at the top, usually with the title of what you're talking about, and a box to the left and the right underneath, so that you can put two different contents. It could be word and then picture, graph and then picture, two lists of words if you want it. Comparison is almost identical, except there is a header above each column as well as the top header. A title slide gives you just a title and a blank area. Often that's a picture that someone would then paste in there. Blank is truly blank. There is nothing there.
Yeah, that's where you can enter all your information. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, aren't there Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So there's two more. There's a content with caption, which means on the left-hand side of the screen gives you almost a title bar, and you can put wording information. And then there to the right is a large box. Often people will put a graph, chart, or picture there. And then picture with caption, very similar. It is a title bar at the top. So often picture with caption is used to introduce people. You might put their name at the top and then description about them below. And to the right is a place where you would put a photo of the person.
That makes sense. Aren't there also conceptual slides? I think those would be considered conceptual slides, right?
Yes,
where you can enter like charts and graphs.
Yes, yes. The title and content the to content, the comparison,
Right.
and the content with caption give you buttons that allow you to, well, I call them buttons. I'll be curious what Jaws calls them, to put them in. So kind of in a bit of a nutshell. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and
So
one more thing, I'm sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. Just to let you guys know, so when you go to those insert slide dialog where you can choose the type of slide, if you will press the right arrow key, so you have blank button and you press right arrow and it goes to content with caption, picture with caption, or you can down arrow to, go to content. So you can use your right and left arrow keys or up and down arrow keys, and you get to, it's kind of like a grid. Like if you go up, you have title only, comparison. So you just have to use your arrow keys to get to all of those choices. But if you just down arrow, it only makes it look like there are 3 different types, and that's what was throwing me. I said, yeah, so there are more types if you use your right and left arrow keys.
How did you navigate by slide again?
You can navigate by slide by pressing page up and page down to go to the previous or next slide, or I like to go to the thumbnails tab by pressing F6, or you can press from the slide area. If you press Shift F6, it's right there. Then you can up and down arrow through those slides.
There's a person who says their arrow keys don't work. Why might their arrow keys not work?
I'm not sure. I wonder where those arrow keys aren't working.
Okay. So it might depend on where they are. What happens when you encounter an animation?
It really depends on what it is. Sometimes it depends on the type of animation. Sometimes JAWS will, it usually lets you know there's something there. And it's good about explaining different objects. But if it's an animation, if it's something that's moving, it can be kind of confusing. Or sometimes we really don't know what it is,
Okay. And do you know if this navigation will work if the presentation is dropped into Teams?
If it's dropped into Teams, there are ways to access it. You can also just download it from Teams to PowerPoint.
Can you use Insert B Bravo to read a dialog box or text box in the Google Slides in PowerPoint?
A dialog box, yes. Maybe a text box. It depends on if that information. Sometimes it'll just read, JAWS will just read the information in that text box, or sometimes depending on how it was created, it won't read it at all. So it just depends. But yeah, Insert B will usually read a box, some dialogue that's there.
Okay. This sounds like a preference, but it'll be interesting to hear you, and maybe Paul will want to chime in. How do you read slides when you're reading a presentation? Do you use the thumbnails?
If I'm reading a presentation, I use slideshow mode.
Okay.
What do you do, Paul? Is that what
Yeah,
you do? Or?
absolutely. That's the one thing I'm good at is using slideshow mode.
Okay.
And because of those JAWS features I mentioned earlier, it really makes it easier to read that information with your arrow keys.
Okay. One person wants confirmation. You can put bullet points on each slide, correct?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. To delete an item, do you press F6 and then Shift F10?
It depends on what you're deleting. I can show you how to delete. There's an easy way to delete a slide. But if you're deleting something on a slide, it depends on what you're deleting. And once again, you can enter on the object level to delete some information, or you can just press, delete or backspace on that object level to delete it. So like if you're on a title and you want to delete the title, just press backspace.
I'm not sure you'll get to this one, and neither are they. It sounds like it might be PowerPoint ×2. Will you tackle how to order the objects to appear in the slide instead of everything appearing all at once, which I think is considered an animation if I look at the wording.
That would be something for the next, but we could always do another PowerPoint, too.
Okay.
But yeah, I will talk about resizing and relocating a little bit.
Okay. Will JAWS read your screenshot text, or would that just become an image?
That's an image.
And will JAWS read graphs if you insert them from Excel?
No. If it's considered an image like that, if it's a picture, it won't.
Okay. Another question is, can you read a PowerPoint with JAWS if you get it from Skype or Zoom?
Well, you should be able to just download it, like you would. If you download it to PowerPoint, then yeah, you usually can, as long as it was created accessibly.
But there is no way for JAWS to get into the screen that's being shown to read the presentation that is being displayed, correct?
Like if it's shared, you mean?
Right
No.
now you're sharing one and you
Yes.
can't get in there.
Correct. I'm sorry. Yes, that is correct. It is an image that's being shared, so JAWS can't read that.
That's okay. I just wanted people to be aware.
Yeah, that's very important.
You can take the question either way. So I was like, which way? Okay. Do you, or will you be covering how to change the background color of a slide?
I'll get into that here in just a minute. I'll show you how to navigate to those options.
Okay. And then how do you get to slideshow mode? You might be getting to that one.
I will show you that as well, but you press F5.
Okay. I am not keeping up with all of these questions. I'm going to let you go on. I'll try to copy and paste these and save them to give us a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go through a couple more things here and then we'll take more questions, but let's talk about deleting a slide. And I suddenly have JAWS just announcing volume level. I have no idea why it's saying that. Okay, so to delete a slide, I like to do it from slideshow mode, and you can access, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. I like to do it from the thumbnails tab, and I will demonstrate this, but I can press Shift F6 to get me there from the slide area, and down arrow to the slide I want to delete, and I can just delete it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here.
And I turned off chat for the moment.
Oh, it's not letting me access. Here we go. Okay,
Webinar.
so I'm going to navigate
Zoom.
back over
To move to
here.
Title is Zoom. Task switch presentation 1 dash. Title is presentation 1
Okay.
PowerPoint. Slide, insert slide keyboard command.
All right, so I am here in the thumbnails tab, and I'm just going to go down this list, and I'm going to delete.
Slide 4.
Let's get rid of slide 4. I'm going to press the delete key.
Slide 4.
And it makes slide 5 slide 4.
Insert slide keyboard command.
What if I want to delete this one? I'll press delete.
Slide 3, blank. Slideshow.
And now we
command.
got rid of that
Slide 3.
entire slide. So
F6. Slide area.
So here I am in the slide area. I can press Shift F6.
Shift F6.
I can up and down arrow through my slides here.
Slide 7. Slide 8.
I can press delete.
Slide 7. Slide 6. Slide 5. Slide 4. Slide 3.
Now I just have these two slides, and I can verify that with my arrow keys up and down.
Slideshow mode command slide 3. Slideshow keyboard command slide. Slide 3.
Let's get rid of slide 3.
Slideshow mode command slide.
And now we just have two slides. And then I can press F6 to go back to this slide area
F6,
if I wanted to.
Slide area.
If I wanted to do that. So that is how you delete a slide. Now let's move on. I'm going to let you take it back over, Paul, just for a second here.
Zoom. To move to an item, press the arrow. You cannot start screen share with Alt.
There we go.
And I open the chat back up.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about inserting, resizing, and relocating content on a slide just for a second. I'm not going to delve too much into this, but I just want to give you a few keyboard commands and show you how to get to an important menu. So you can insert content on a slide using keyboard commands. You can insert a picture by pressing Alt-N-P. You can insert a shape with Alt-N-S-H. I know it's a long command. Select a theme with Alt-G-H. Select a slide layout. Alt HL, resize objects on a slide. You can do this using your arrow keys. You can press, control or shift up arrow, down arrow, right and left, or just the right, left, up and down arrows to get to, or to relocate that information on a slide. But sometimes JAWS will, read that information to you, and sometimes it's not really clear where it is. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a feature here that you can use, or a menu that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Okay.
Webinar. Zoom. To move to an item, meet presentation.
Oh.
That's okay. I turned off chat for you.
Okay, can you see that? I'm sorry.
Yep.
No selection. No selection.
Okay, so it says no selection. I'm going to make sure.
Title placeholder. Object placeholder. Level 1. Bullet F5 to.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and insert something here. I'll press Alt N.
Alt N. Upper S. S. Illustrations toolbar.
And I'm going to down arrow.
Freeform : scribble button. Line button. To rectangle button.
To rectangle. And I'm going to press enter. So we're going to insert a rectangle here on this slide, on the second slide.
Slideshow mode command slide. 2.
Okay, so now I'm going to tab to that object.
Title place. Object placeholder. Rectangle. Rectangle is on top of object placeholder.
So now when you tab to something like that, that's how you select an object. So now you can press Shift F10, or I'm going to press the applications key.
Applications.
And I'm going to press the letter Z for size.
Z. Leaving menus. Slideshow mode command slide. 2 of 2. Rectangle. Rectangle is on top of size and proper text options.
Now that brought up a menu. Now, if once you do that, it may not, like if you're going to do it twice within the same PowerPoint session, it may not bring that up twice. And I'll show you what to do here in just a second. If it doesn't, you can access it using your F6 key. It shows up in those panes that we've talked about in the different areas and panes within PowerPoint. So now we have this dialog here, and we can do a lot of things here. We can
size and properties button selected. To move to an item, press the.
We have the size and properties button.
Size button checked. To activate height edit spin box. 1 quote. Type.
And we have the height here. Now a slide is typically wider than it is tall, and so you can actually make it pretty wide. You can make it, a foot wide if you wanted, depending on how you're going to be presenting it, or you can make it, 6 or maybe a half a foot tall. We're not going to do that, but
1.1 quote.
I'm going to go ahead and change. I'm using up and down arrow keys here in the height spin box, so I'm going to go to 2.
1.2 quote. 1.3 1.8 1 2 quote.
Okay.
2 quote. 2 quote.
Now I'm going to tab.
Width edit spin box. 1 quote.
And I'm going to change the width to 5.
1
and it's changing it
2.1
in
2
increments of 10 here. So
2.3 quote. 3 4 quote.
Let's leave it on 4. Okay. So now we've changed the height and the width of this rectangle.
Rotation edit spin box. 0 degrees. Scale height edit spin box.
So you can just tab through different options here.
Scale width edit spin box. Lock aspect ratio checkbox not checked.
Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about this particular option here, this lock aspect ratio. Let's check that.
Space. Check.
So if you want your picture, your object to not distort, and you want it to, appear more to scale, you can press the space bar there so it won't distort that object and lock that. So we just keep tabbing.
Very helpful if you drop a photograph in.
Yes.
You don't get the long horse face.
Which is very
Position
important.
Button not checked. Text box button not checked.
So here you could resize a checkbox.
Shape options button. Size and properties button selected. To move to an item.
And I can press escape here.
Escape. Slideshow mode command slide.
And did that change the rectangle?
No, rectangle is there.
Is it still there? Okay. Did it make it any bigger? I'm not sure.
Nope.
If it worked.
I didn't
Okay.
notice it.
But maybe. Okay. Let's press F6.
F6. Size and properties button selected. To move to an item, press the arrow key.
See, now that shows up in the pane.
Size button checked. Height edit spin box. 2 quote. Type. Width edit spin box. 4 quote.
Okay. Well, the settings here are what I set them to.
Height, size and text option. Shape options.
So I'm going to
Escape.
press escape.
Slideshow
So
mode command slide.
I don't know, visually it doesn't appear to have changed anything, but that's where you can go. And these boxes get a little bit tricky. And I also just want to mention that if your students are, using JAWS and they're not really sure about how to insert shapes and what that type of thing is, or inserting pictures, encourage them to, one thing I definitely like to do is, even if I insert things in a PowerPoint, I like to have someone sighted look at it and tell me, because just because you you have a setting, something that you've set a certain way doesn't mean that it might not look that way. So, all right.
Very good tip. And just for anyone else that might need it, you can actually turn a regular piece of paper sideways and demonstrate on a piece of paper what a student has done with the rectangle that they drew, and actually show where it ended up on that piece of paper.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay. I'm gonna stop. I was gonna say I'm gonna unshare my screen here, but
okay, you unshared it. You ready for a couple more questions?
Yeah, let's take a couple. We have a couple more things to do, but I want to take your questions. I definitely want to get to these questions.
Okay. In slideshow mode, how would you recommend a student read the PowerPoint from their teacher?
Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that here in just a second. That's a great question.
That just was perfect, wasn't it?
Yes.
There you go. And another person said, sometimes the presenter mode gets stuck when using PowerPoint with their JAWS when they're sharing their screen in Zoom. Do you know how they can get out of that special presentation mode?
You know what? Please send me an email to training@vispero.com, because that is a problem that one of our other team members has had, and she will be able to answer that for us. Because that can be frustrating. You have to turn that off. So if you send me an email to training@vispero.com, I will get you an answer.
Okay. Will you be demonstrating the key command to move a slide up and down, meaning reorder them?
Not today, but that is something that we could definitely cover in another training for sure.
Okay, and then it looks like you're getting ready to do it. Tips on running PowerPoint in the presentation when you're in Zoom.
Oh yeah.
Like what Paul is doing right now.
Like what Paul is doing, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to turn it back over to you now. View a presentation in slide mode.
Okay, all right. So we have, viewing a presentation. I'm just going to go over a couple of things here. When you're in a presentation, you press F5 to enter slideshow mode, and you press space to advance forward or backspace to go backward. And then you can read the contents using your arrow keys. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And
web and Zoom to move to a presentation.
Okay.
Power.
So here we have the presentation, and I'm going to press F5.
F5. Slide 1 keyboard commands. Heading level 2 Elizabeth Whitaker.
All right, so now I can use my up and down arrow keys.
Heading level 2 Elizabeth Whitaker. Slide 1 keyboard. Heading level 1 keyboard commands.
Okay, and if I want to go to the next slide, I press space.
Slide 2 slideshow mode commands. Slide 2 slideshow mode commands.
Use my arrow keys.
Heading level 1 slideshow mode. List of 2 items. Bullet F5 to start a slideshow. Bullet space to advance through the slideshow. List end. Rectangle 3 shape. Rectangle 3.
And see, it tells me there's a shape there. So if I wanted to exit slideshow mode, I could press escape, or since this is the last slide, I'll show you what happens. Well, let me demonstrate backspace first. I'm sorry. If you hit backspace,
slide 1 keyboard
goes
commands,
back a slide.
Commands.
So you go back to slide 1, space goes forward.
Slide 2 slideshow mode commands.
And then I can press space again.
End of slideshow. Click to exit.
And I can press space or escape.
Presentation 1 PowerPoint.
And we're back here in the presentation. And if there were any links or tables or anything like that, they were going to show up there on each slide, and you could interact with them just like I was saying earlier, like you would on a web page.
Meeting controls to move.
So now I'm going to let's see. Here we go. Stop screen share and see if you guys have any questions before we get to the Office Accessibility Checker.
Okay. Wait a second. See if they have any questions. Chat is back open.
Yeah.
A second. See, okay. What someone still is really wanting to know about that background color screen. How you change the background.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can, in those, oh, just the background color in general. How do you get to that? Let's see. Do you know, Leanne?
So I am. I tend to use someone who already created one.
Right?
Because I would prefer to not design my own. That's bad. You can go to the design tab and pick one, which has already been pre-formatted inside of PowerPoint. I will say that that is probably what I see a majority of students doing to get their background color change. The other thing you could do is you could make an object the exact size of the screen and make that your background.
You could also probably change a theme too, huh? That would have
Yes, you could
different,
change to a theme
I
that
thought
would
that
do it
might,
as well.
yeah,
Yes.
that would have good colors.
And this person is thinking if
Yeah.
they want to build it for a student who has cortical visual impairment.
Oh,
And there are
yeah.
actually many slides out there, as well as on Paths to Literacy has quite a few that you should be able to download, and then you can modify for your own child. Is there a place to get a list of key commands for PowerPoint? Now, I have been dropping your handout in the chat. I know that has some. Is there a place for more of them?
Absolutely, and I'm going to provide you guys a list of, a master list of commands that have all the ones that we've, I apologize for not having it today, but you can also, within PowerPoint, you can press, well, maybe you can't. I was going to say you can usually press, here we go. Insert H within PowerPoint will give you, it'll bring up a list of commands in the virtual viewer. So, oh wait, this might answer the other question. So we have to start a slideshow, press F5 to start it in presenter view, Alt plus F5. Next, prior. So there's a list of commands there if you press Insert H. And also, let's see, if you press Insert W, you get, I think, the same. Yeah, you get the same thing. You get those same commands. So Insert H or Insert W.
Okay. I'm trying to, in reading the slideshow, will JAWS announce all board lists?
I'm sorry, what is the question?
I'm not sure. The voice to text isn't giving me really good words.
Okay.
It says, in reading the slideshow, how well will JAWS announce? It says all boarded lists. I'm trying to figure out what all boarded lists is.
I'm not
Sorry,
sure
you're gonna have to write that one again.
I'm not sure what that is.
Will
I'm sorry.
help me. Yep.
It may be a feature I'm not familiar with.
Okay, so how does JAWS play a media file if you insert one on your slideshow?
Oh, it'll play it absolutely fine. You can actually choose whether you want to trigger it when you move to that slide, or you can down arrow if it's not automatically triggered to play button and press the space bar to activate that. And you can do that with videos or sound files.
Okay. I think we're good. We're ready to go into the accessibility checker with our few last minutes.
Yes, let's do that real quick. So the accessibility feature, or the accessibility checker tool, is in Microsoft Office, Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And it's useful for finding, like I said earlier, some missing, well, any issues that it perceives, missing alt text, things like that, and other common accessibility issues. However, of course, no automated tool can catch everything, so you definitely want to do a manual check if you're creating a PowerPoint that you want to make sure is accessible. So we open the file menu with Alt F and then up arrow to Info and press Enter. And I'm going to demonstrate this. And tab to check issues, which is a submenu, and press the space bar to activate that. And then you have a few choices, which are Inspect Document, check accessibility, and check compatibility. And you just move to the one you want and you can press Enter. And you get a report of information that it found, and you can read that with your arrow keys. And then when you're finished, you press escape to close that accessibility checker. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, wait.
That's okay. I turned off chat. You'll be
See
ready
if
to
it'll
go.
let me. Here we go.
Zoom.
All right.
To move to a presentation.
So here we are in the presentation. I'm going to press Alt F.
Alt F. Menu.
I'm going to up arrow to info.
Close. X. Share. Print. Save. Save. Info. Info.
And enter.
Enter. Menu. Protect presentation submenu.
And I'm going to down arrow here.
Check for issues submenu. Alt followed by
And
F.
I'm going to press space.
Space. Inspect document. I.
And I'm going to go to,
Check
I'm gonna-
accessibility.
I'm going to down arrow here to
Check accessibility.
check accessibility and press enter.
Enter. Keep an eye on it. Press F6 to access. Leaving menus. Menu. Slide notes graphic. Leaving menus. Missing alternative text left paren 1 right paren closed. Warnings. Check reading order left paren 1 right paren.
So it just gives
Warning,
me a little
errors.
information. Of course, it says errors, and it's telling me because I have that rectangle and there's no alt text to describe it. So that just gives you a rundown of the issues that it finds, and I can press escape
Escape. Keyboard command slide.
to get out of it.
And then just to let everybody know, you will always get that message about check your reading order. Even if it's right, you will always get that message.
Yeah, I've always gotten it too.
Always.
Good point. Now I'm going to give you one more tip here that I thought was something fun to mention that's not in the presentation here because I thought of it this morning. But I'm going to press Alt Q.
Alt Q. Microsoft Search Edit.
We have this tell me box here, the search box, and I'm going to type, let's say I want a command for inserting something. I'm just going to type the word insert.
INSERT. 7 suggestions available for inactions.
So you just type what you want to do, and then you down arrow.
Blank. Insert icons. Object. Insert rows below unavailable. Quote insert quote. Leaving menu. Insert rows below object.
Let's hit enter on object.
Enter. Leaving menus. Microsoft Search. Search. Alt plus N. Insert. Create from file. Create.
And there
new.
we can insert an object. So I just wanted to show you that you can look up commands too if you're not sure.
Escape. Keyboard escape.
And I will press escape.
Zoom. To move to an item, you cannot start screen. Escape.
Before you
Ready.
leave that, can you show how to insert a heading?
Ooh, I'll show you a quick way.
Title is Presentation 1-PowerPoint.
What do you mean, like on a slide?
That's what I'm guessing.
Okay,
Subtitle placeholder.
so let's do this. Let's move
Page down.
to the next
select.
slide. I'm going to show you a way. I'll show you how I do it.
Title place. Object place.
So I'm going to go into this object placeholder, or let's see.
Enter. Edit. Enter. Edit. Bullet. Bullet. Blank.
If you want to turn text into a heading, so if I wanted to type in, I'm just going to type in commands for lack of a better thing. Okay,
Home.
if you
Level 1
select
period.
that line, like if I press Shift N
Level 0 bullet commands.
and I press Alt Control number 1 on the number row.
Alt Control 1. Bullet command.
Uh-oh, it didn't do that.
Level blank.
So maybe that doesn't work in, that's a quick way to insert a heading in Word
Escape. Object.
or in
Rectangle.
usually any other.
Title placeholder.
Let's
Okay,
go
we
into
are
the
getting
title.
deeper into, I was gonna say, if you
Yeah.
don't get to it, this is going deeper into actually
Yeah, that's
creating.
Now it'll do a title like a heading because it just said heading level
Title
1.
placeholder. Level 1. Slideshow mode command.
But I think those are usually formatted like headings. But if you just select the line of text and you do Alt Control 1, that's a level 1 heading. Alt Control 2 is a level 2, and so forth. So yeah, let me go
Meeting
ahead
controls. To
and
move to Alt.
stop the screen share here. Sorry about that. That was just a thing I just wanted to try real quick for you. And you can also go in and you can format text as well, but of course we don't have time to get to that today as well.
No, you've got 2 minutes.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you got. So I have open chat back up. If there are any questions for any of you, this is the last few minutes. Before I let everyone go, I want to say thank you, Elizabeth. Teaching a very visual tool is a challenge in and of itself for those who can see. So I am deeply impressed. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
PowerPoint
you.
is its own little trick. So definitely thank you. And it does sound like we possibly need a
Yeah.
times 2.
Absolutely. And as a user who is also blind and uses JAWS, I'm always learning about all these visual things. So yeah, it's a great learning experience for me.
If you are listening for a closing code, let me stop the recording.